The Lakers whiffed on trying to acquire Klay Thompson from the Warriors, and they missed out on an opportunity of getting a championship-level player on their roster. However, there has been reports of a backup plan, and the Lakers are targeting an all-star wing that's an LA native. Also, we're going to talk about what happened with the Klay Thompson deal and how he ended up with the Warriors. What's good, y'all, and welcome to another Lakers Digest video. I'm your host, Okechi Pakama, and before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So, let's hop straight into it as the Lakers are turning their focus on DeMar DeRozan. So, we are already 2 days into free agency, heading into the third day, and so far, all the Lakers have to show for it is a nice team-friendly contract they signed with Max Christie, a 4-year deal, which may pay dividends down the road, but for upgrading the roster right now to championship-level status, they haven't made a move so far to justify that, as they've only had their players all pick up their options, so that is D'Angelo Russell, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, and Christian Wood. So they all picked up their options. So the Lakers currently have a ton of roster spots, but it's all been the same guys. They haven't really made a big move. And then besides, with the exception of Dawson Connect and Bronny James, they haven't added anybody new to the squad. But the Lakers seems to be turning their focus towards DeMar DeRozan. So this is from Jake Fisher from Yahoo Sports. And then he said this. So he said, "How will the Lakers recover from losing Thompson will be fascinating subplot in its own right. While LeBron James has indicated a willingness to take less salary, sources say, in order to help Los Angeles to add more talent to the roster that fell in the first round of the playoffs. Time seems to be running out for how long LeBron James will be willing to wait to secure that next deal. For the Lakers to bring DeRozan on, Los Angeles may have to work with a third team to offload salaries such as D'Angelo Russell or Gabe Vincent, sources say. The Nets have been open to welcoming Russell back to Barclays Center since this past trade deadline, sources say." So that last bit of it from Jake is very important there, as there seems to be at least one team that is interested in having D'Angelo Russell, and that is very important as the Lakers seem to, or he is the guy that if the Lakers are going to make a trade, he would be the one that the Lakers would make the trade for, just because his salary is the biggest number out of their mid-sized contracts, and he is the point of on the roster where it's just, this is where it's just an overlap, because him and Austin Reaves in some rights do the same things. Yes, D'Angelo Russell is a high volume 3-point shooter, but at the same time he has some defensive liabilities, and then having him and Austin Reaves on the floor can be detrimental at times. So the Lakers wanting to trade Russell makes sense, and then doing it with DeMar DeRozan means it would have to be some sort of sign and trade, so DeMar gets somewhat of his value, because he would be taking a pay cut if he were to come to the Lakers. So the Chicago Bulls probably would not want to do a straight up deal with the Lakers and then having a D'Angelo Russell to that team. So that's why the Lakers are possibly looking for a third team to add to this so they can send Russell elsewhere. That's why the Nets are very important in all of this, because the Chicago Bulls recently made a trade to trade Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. So it seems like Josh Giddey is going to be their point guard of the future for some reason. But that is what the Bulls' plan is to do, and that's what they intend to do. So if the Lakers and the Bulls were to work out a sign-and-trade deal, it would have to get pretty complicated and probably pretty frivolous with dealing with these couple of picks and how the Lakers are sectioned in where the first and second apron is. It all depends on what happens with LeBron's contract. So there is a whole bunch of different moving parts when it comes to possibly trying to acquire DeMar DeRozan. However, there is some solid news on that front, as according to Brian Windhorst on the Hoops Collective podcast. So he said that there is another player that LeBron will be willing to take a pay cut for, and that is DeMar DeRozan. So, and there's a picture of LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan there when LeBron James played in the Drew League. That was a really memorable summer. And so those two guys have been friendly over the past few years. Even all those times that LeBron James was beating those DeMar DeRozan teams for the Toronto Raptors. So there are some ties there, but as far as the basketball fit goes, that's where things start to worry for me, as DeMar DeRozan is a mid-range specialist and probably one of the best mid-range specialists in the league. But when you have a team already with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis who operate from the mid-range and in, obviously LeBron shot more threes last year, but he's historically been a guy that's been pretty good in the mid range. Same with a guy like Rui Hachimura, where he doesn't take too many threes. He is a mid range jump shooter, and then same with Austin Reaves as well. So you have a whole different ton of guys who are all on the roster who all do kind of the same things. And if you are trying to be like JJ Redick, who he said he wants this Laker team to shoot more threes, adding DeMar DeRozan doesn't make a ton of sense on that end. Yes, from a star name and what he can do on the basketball court, he is a star level player. And then if we just take a look at his last season stats here, and they're terrific. So DeMar DeRozan averaged 24 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, which is an important number there. 48% from the field and only 33% from the three-point line, which is respectable, but he also shot 39% on corner threes, which is a very important thing. He is 34, but he is a guy that doesn't have super long injury history, and he's been a player for the most part that plays the games that he's available to play in. So at least there's that durability part on his end, but like I said, that number, that 5.3 assists, is very important because a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who you would be possibly trading out, had about 6.5 assists per game for the Lakers last season. So similar assist numbers, which is very important when you're losing a high-level playmaker. But obviously, the way they get their assists aren't the same as DeMar DeRozan would do it, maybe passing out of the double team. He isn't really a very high pick-and-roll player, but that was a big thing for the Lakers offense last season. We'll see what JJ Redick does this season, but if they were to get a guy like DeMar DeRozan, the Lakers like to run a lot of screen and roll, especially with Anthony Davis being at the middle of it. So how all of those parts work is going to be very interesting. And then also, if it is a 3-team deal with the Nets, are the Lakers able to get some of those Nets players that we are been heavily coveted for? So some of those wings, like a Dorian Finney-Smith or even a Cam Johnson. So whatever the Lakers do here the next couple of days will happen fairly quickly, as they have a week, I believe, until training camp starts for USA Team Basketball, and that's when LeBron James wants to have his deal done before, so he doesn't have to worry about that. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and something's going to happen here in the next couple of days that I'm assuming. But let's hop into the other story of the day, and that is how Klay ended up in Dallas. So Klay Thompson going to the Mavericks is a bit of a bummer for, I know, some Laker fans who are hoping that Klay Thompson would end up with the Los Angeles Lakers. He has LA ties, born and raised here in SoCal. His dad, Michael Thompson, works on ESPN Radio. He's a very funny dude, very funny personality. And a lot of people thought that maybe that Klay Thompson and that relationship maybe with LeBron James, because LeBron called Klay Thompson right when free agency started. So maybe there would be something there, but it seems that Klay Thompson took less money to go to a team. So he signed a 3-year, $50 million deal in that 3-team. Yeah, it was a 3-team sign and trade deal. So Klay Thompson went to the Mavericks, while Josh Green went to Charlotte, and then 2 second round picks went to the Golden State Warriors. And then, so according to Chris Haynes, when the Lakers offered the deal to the Golden State Warriors, because when it's a sign and trade, it's between both, not only just the team, but also the player as well. So the team has to agree on the deal. So according to Chris Haynes, the Lakers actually offered Klay Thompson $20 million per year, and they proposed D'Angelo Russell in a sign and trade deal. Now, I was unsure about the amount of years that it was offered for, but if it was either 3 or 4 years, that's $60 million or $80 million, and he only signed for $50 million for 3 years in Dallas. So he definitely took a pay cut going to the Dallas Mavericks. Adrian Wojnarowski was reporting that maybe state taxes had a little bit to do with it, so he gets more bang for his buck over there in Dallas, Texas, instead of Southern California. And then a guy who's been living in the Bay for X amount of years, that kind of does make sense because the Bay is unnecessarily expensive to live there. So him wanting to go somewhere else where there isn't any state tax does make sense from a financial standpoint. And then I would definitely argue with you, if the Mavericks didn't get all the way to the finals, then he's not even considering that squad. But Klay Thompson choosing the Mavericks over the Lakers had some to do with him taking that state taxes or wanting to have less taxes, and then also wanting to be more in a winning situation because that's how it is viewed out there in the world, and that is a bit of an issue for the Los Angeles Lakers. They aren't seen to be as the want to be all destination for some of these guys because they're choosing to take less money to go to a place like Dallas instead of staying in sunny LA. So it is very interesting that Klay Thompson did take that deal with the Mavericks, while the Lakers did offer more money. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset with Rob Pelinka and like, why didn't get this deal done? Da 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 da. And Rob did the thing that you're supposed to do. Like he offered him that $20 million a season. That's a hefty amount. That's a good amount of dollars. And the Warriors just weren't willing to take D'Angelo Russell, which I guess makes sense because they did have D'Angelo Russell during that one season, and it didn't really work out with him and Steve Kerr. There were some issues there. So then maybe that's why the Warriors were willing to pass on that and just to take a guy like Josh Green. So it's unfortunate the Lakers weren't able to get this deal done, but let's see if they're able to pivot, hopefully, to DeMar DeRozan or maybe somebody else on the trade market because the Lakers have to get something done here probably in the next few days because JJ Redick has a lot of things to cover, not only helping build whatever this roster is, but then he's got to get ready for Summer League and all that with some of these young guys. So the Lakers have a lot of important steps to take here, and a lot of action is probably going to happen here in the next few days. Just one more thing for me, guys. Just make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. There's about 70% of you guys who are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you guys are so you don't miss any of those Laker updates. So I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.